All right, everybody, back for a final time for the Cyber Monday extravaganza. We're kind of wrapping up the day. It's open till midnight or 11:59 Eastern is when the sale ends. And so make sure you're getting your orders in and make sure you get your pricing locked in. I tell you what, I'm going to make an offer to you guys. If you get your email into design@obsessedgarage.com. If that email is time-stamped prior to 11:59, let's say you just were screwing around all weekend or all week and you just weren't thinking about it, and you want to do Swiss tracks and flooring and cabinets. If you get that email in and then you get your design order purchased by Friday, I'll give you that extension. But you got to get your email in, and it has to be you have to get your stuff done. I'm not sure how the Swiss Track stuff is going to work because there's a Swiss Tracks promo, so I would urge you go buy your Swiss Tracks right now because they may not be able to honor the full 20%, but get that in. But anyway, I want to talk a little bit about where we're headed, for 2026, actually starting next month. And so we've got, Sonic MSS coming. MSS will launch in the form of modules, so from 9 feet all the way up to 24 feet, and so from say $5,700 up to about 16 grand. And so that launches, and I know lots of you are excited and are going to buy that stuff, so that will launch on December 3rd. And then we'll have a landing page with all the pricing and all the different layouts that are going to be available. And the way that Sonic is going to launch for the first quarter, it'll be module only, and then sometime we're going to be able to turn on and do custom orders. But the custom orders will have to come in with the module containers. And so you're looking at approximately 3 months from order to delivery if you're doing a la carte custom orders. And we're not going to open that up until probably springtime. But we're going to be running all kinds of tool promos and stuff throughout the year, and talking up Sonic MSS, as well as Rousseau, and really showing you some different examples. We're going to do the front entryway. We'll show you all the different modules in person on video on December 3rd, as well as on our website. And then we'll have quite a few videos where we're going to install it in the front. We're going to install it at Matt Rutledge's house. We're going to install it at a customer's house, and probably a bunch of different other places as well. I'm actually going to put some of those cabinets in my conference room. So anyway, the next product that's coming, and this is going to launch, Nick, when?
This Friday, hopefully, if we have stock. So late this week, early next.
So this is somewhere in the country.
It's in New York. It's on a truck. It's coming our way. It should be here any day.
Got it. Okay, so we should have it. And I wanted to sort of narrow this down. And so we really have 3 products. We have 2 sponges, and we have a steering wheel repair kit. And this is, honor the source here. My friend Demo had suggested, hey, you might want to check this product out. So Tommy ordered some from Germany, and I used it on my GT3. I used it on several cars. And man, it's just, I freaking love it. I got on a call with the Ledermax team, and I'm going to blaspheme here a little bit because you're not supposed to use microfiber. We need to find a good cotton cloth. So if you have a suggestion, put it in the comments. Tell me what I should be looking at. I want like say a 16 by 16 or a 16 by 24 cotton, like high quality towel that I can use to clean the leather with, because their philosophy is different in that they suggest that you use a sponge, not a brush, and that you use cotton, not microfiber, because microfiber is essentially little plastic filaments, and when looked at under a microscope will sort of mar the surface, or it's too jagged and will sort of damage the surface of the leather. Now, again, I think we're splitting hairs here, but and I'm okay. I mean, this is Nick's seat here. I think it's going to be okay. So I'm sure it's been wiped with many, many worse things than a fresh new 80 or 70-30, fancy microfiber towel. but the cleaning process is going to be quite a bit different than what we're used to. So I'm going to show you real simply how this works and talk a little bit about the 3 different products. This is a real simple thing to do. Use this same thing on vinyl, vegan leather, which is vinyl, leather, on everything except for, what is it, like nubuck, you know, and then you need to do something different. So all, you know, modern coated leather, you're going to use this on. And so we have 2 different sponges. We have our cleaning sponge, which is a little bit more porous, and then you have your applicator sponge, which is a little bit softer, less porous. And then they come in 2 sizes, in large and small. And this is what we will use to clean. I wanted to bring over, in order to keep our SKUs narrow and our stock high, I wanted to keep the products limited. They sell all these different sizes, like large, medium, small. I said, let's just get the right size, which is a 200 milliliter. So we're going to carry 200 milliliter number 1 cleaner, which is like your light cleaner. These seats I'm going to use a number 1.1. So then you have a number 1.1, or what they call intensive cleaner. These are all in German, so the bottles that are coming are going to be in English. And then you have your finisher, which is your conditioner. They make many other products, but for us, for now, we'll probably bring over more of the line if necessary. But for now, we really only need these 3 products to do anything I'm doing.
And so, question for you that they're asking about in the chat, what would be the difference between this and what already exists out there?
So the main brands, and so I like to leave the leather to the leather people, right? And I'm a big fan of Lars, big fan of Color Lock for many years. Color Lock, their philosophy is to make sure that your product is properly pH balanced, which Ledermax agrees with. So you don't want to be using either too alkaline or too acidic, because a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll use all-purpose cleaner, which will clean the leather, but also, you know, damage your long-term prospects. And I'm sure many of you that are detailers are watching this says, look, I've been using APC for years and haven't had a problem. I don't disagree, but I want to do it right if I can. And so I want to make sure that I'm not drying out the leather for mainly me, which is probably not going to happen. But for, you know, some of these fancy cars that I have, for now I'm in a place where I'm probably going to have these for a lot longer than I've ever had in the past. So I want to make sure that my leather is treated, taken care of, doesn't crack in the future, doesn't have problems. So the Color Lock philosophy is pH, proper protection. They had 2 types of protection depending on the age of the leather. They had leather protection cream, and then they had leather shield. And so you had those 2, and depending on if your seat was over 3 years old, you would do the 2-step process. If your seat was under, you do the 1-step. Leather shield was your sacrificial layer. Leather shield and number 2 conditioner are similar, where what we're doing is we're applying a preventative, a product that will prevent dye transfer, becomes kind of like waxing the paint on the car. This conditioner is what becomes your sacrificial layer, helps keep the top coat looking like it's supposed to without adding any sheen. And then Color Lock's philosophy was you use a properly designed brush, and that properly designed brush would get into the pores and reactivate and remove the dirt. And so you would clean using a properly pH balanced cleaner, and then you would wax it, you would coat it. You'd put the protection on it. Geist is similar philosophy with a brush, similar cleaning philosophy, but all organic, right? So Ram has kind of gone around the country and said, you know, we're the organic company, so it's a biodegradable, organic sort of water-based type product. I used it a couple of times, didn't fall in love with it. I preferred the Color Lock. Then you have Leatherique. Leatherique is their idea is that you have a very specific oil. So you have a cleaner, and then you would use their conditioner oil. You would use that conditioner oil to sort of penetrate the leather, keep it supple, keep it conditioned. And so Leatherique, I think, is out of Australia. I might be making that up. but Leathereek has been around a long time as well. And then you have, Lexol, which would be like the generic, sort of cleaner, conditioner. And then you have all the different detailing companies, which generally don't know as much about leather. The company I had used before I had discovered Color Lock was Swissvax. Turns out a bunch of the Swissvax products were actually made by Color Lock. Not their cleaner, but I think their leather protector was basically leather shield or something like that. I actually really liked their leather cleaner, but I was more of a wipe-on, wipe-off cleaner. So where Ledermax comes in, and what sold me on Ledermax, other than the use, was Leathereek, Geist, Color Lock, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure they all have their chops are all, all of their leather expertise comes from the repair, furniture, and existing leather, the existing leather, repair and maintaining. Whereas Ledermax is in the tannery. He comes from the tannery business. So I believe he worked at the tannery. So they're getting the raw hides and then treating the hides and manufacturing the hides for Porsche and Mercedes and BMW. And so he worked his whole life in the tannery area with a side of, I think, chemical expertise. We're going to get him on the podcast at some point, or get him on a podcast on the OG channel here at some point, telling the story. But he told us the story, while we were sort of talking about bringing the product here to the U.S. And I tried to talk him into, hey, we should make this product here. He says even his wife doesn't have the formulation of this. But under a microscope, when you use a brush and use microfiber, it essentially micromars or micro damages the pores or the top surface of the leather. And so the suggestion is that you use a sponge and you use cotton. I didn't plan ahead. I have some fancy cotton towels at home. I forgot to bring it today, so we're going to use the softest microfiber I got. And so that's where this comes in. That's to answer your really short question with a long-winded answer. But we're also bringing in the steering wheel repair kit. This comes with all the stuff you'd need to repair, glues, dyes, all the different things you're going to need. We'll have this in full description. I'm not going to go through this here today, but you can use the steering wheel repair kit also to repair a seat. The problem is the color in here is black. It's like a generic black. And so this you would use on your BMW's jacked up steering wheel to repair it. We'll have how-to videos on this in the future, but eventually what we'll probably have to do is bring over. I don't know if we're ever going to go down this path. Color Lock, Geist, they all are. They were servicing the professional. I'm looking more to just kind of keep my seat clean, and so we may bring the rest of the line and distribute it through others. But the plan here to start is to bring the products that we know we're going to use, and that's these. So let's clean Nick's seat up here. All of these come with a ball bearing mixing thingy in here. So you want to mix up your product. And then it comes with a foaming head. So foaming. And then if we use, I kind of like to use the small one. So I'm going to foam the product on the sponge. And then let's take an area here. Should we do the dirtiest area first?
Entirely up to you.
Try to get in tight. I'm not doing your whole seat. There's no freaking way. And so what you want to do on this, and we're going to bring them over to train all of us how to use this stuff, but the basic premise here, get the product on, use the sponge to clean, and use it to get the dirt off the surface. And what I see with this is just, I don't want goofy looking, shiny looking, armor-alled up leather. I want a classic, matte, clean looking finish. And so we certainly removed quite a bit of dirt here, Nick. This is not it's not ideal. And it's hard to explain. It's like the surface it leaves behind. Now, we're not going to get this perfected, but the surface this leaves behind is just this amazing matte looking finish that is, in this case, quite a bit cleaner. Now, my wager is, if you did this 2 or 3 times, you'd continue to pull dirt on an older seat. Yep. Hey, look.
Yeah, something I noticed earlier, I did a small little test spot. It actually gets a lot more supple as well, like it's a lot softer after you clean
even
it.
after the cleaner, which is pretty sweet. So I don't have like some amazing words of wisdom for everybody here, other than it just frickin' works and works great. And you have your cracking here, and then this is where your more advanced repair can come in. So you would do this cleaning step first, and then you would come back and do some repair in the future. And a seat like this, I probably should grab some water here and clean out my sponge. Oh, the water's not on. That's right. It's all right. We'll just ride dirty here. This level of cleaning here is more my style, Nick, like this section. Mm-hmm.
2,000 Lexus leather.
It's looking all right.
We did Geist on this before, or I should say I did full Geist.
And you felt like it didn't do much?
It wasn't able to get any of that stuff off the bolsters there, that side transfer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was good for a while. But I was certainly impressed by the color lock, or excuse me, the Ledermax stuff a lot more.
This is just to me, it's just works. Man, that looks a lot better. I'm sure, you know, on 1080p, milky, live YouTube, you guys aren't getting some, you know, magic transformation here, but in person, it looks like incredibly better. Let's see what it does to this. Oh, yeah. A lot of this, Nick, is not so much dirt. It's just the dye is gone. That's where the next phase of life for a seat like this would be to do a little bit of light refinishing. My philosophy is I just get a new car. I'd quit. But if you have this product, you won't need to go here, right? It'll never get to this. If you cleaned it, even if it was 20 years old, you could keep it nice and clean forever. I'm gonna grab a piece of tape and we'll do a little 50-50 shot here.
On the very bottom there, shine up a lot. You can see the shine especially.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, there's no stick to this tape left. grab our new sponge here. Let's just do a 50-50 shot here and see. See if I'm making this up or if it's actually making a difference. So I'm going to set expectations here for you goofballs. This is as good as we got. This is good. This isn't going to transform your life if your seat's jacked up. This isn't like ShamWow here or Flex Seal, where it's just going to, you know, you're going to plug the sinking boat with some duct tape. But it's going to clean it the way you want it cleaned. It's going to look the way you want it to look. And it's going to do it better than anything else, and it's going to do it safely and efficiently. I think I've tried every single frickin' leather cleaner on the planet. And this is the best. It's hard to explain that look. It's so subtle, but see that? Can we see it in the camera though?
Yes, you can see it very clearly.
So there's our line.
Like lighting the whole shade up.
So much better.
Wow.
It's freaking great, dude. Here, I'll do this side and we do another tape line. We love tape lines here at Obsessed Garage.
And so when you do the conditioner, does it have any effect to the finish as well? Or
Not really. I find that the cleaner does almost all the work. It's kind of like polishing. You know, the coating doesn't add that much.
Yeah.
It's the polishing that does all the work. What do I do with it? And a seat like this might be worth doing 3-4 applications of cleaner. Until your sponge stops getting dirty.
And then for the sponges, you just rinse it out in water and it's
Yeah,
good to go.
so what I would do is have a bucket of water and just rinse it out and dry it off. I had a towel where I could just dry it off. Just to pull the excess water off. And so you would use the same exact grouping of products on vinyl, not Alcantara though. Alcantara, I'm going to use Sonex. Yeah, dude. There's our line. See right down the middle.
very clearly.
Yep. And it just feels like freaking new. Minus the cracks.
All right, we have one question here from Maverick. He says, Matt, if I was to buy my first items from Coke and Tools, what ratchets, etc. should I be buying?
Well, they only offer a couple of ratchets. I like the push button version, not the quick release version. And so you want, we're going to have these toolkits pretty soon here, but you want the, because I bought all of them, you want to have the push button 3/8 heads, or sorry, 1/4 inch head with a 3/8 anvil. Those are freaking sweet. And then you want the flex head and the fixed head of the, of each of the push button type. So the problem is now I made a line in here. I'm gonna have to work it out here. Look at that. So you got a racing stripe now.
Yeah, I got bucket seats.
Mm-hmm, that's funny. I do one more application. So yeah, the flex head and the fixed head, and you want the standard and long reach of each in each size, And then in the 3/8 size, you want this 3/8 with the 1/4 inch head as well. So it ends up being quite a few ratchets. Let's see. In 1/4 inch, 1, 2, 3, 4. In 3/8, it'd be 6. And then they only make one 1/2 inch ratchet, and it's a fixed head, push button.
Ryan is asking if those are normal sponges or if it's a magic eraser sponge.
No, it's definitely not Magic Eraser. You don't want that. It's a specifically designed sponge by Ledermax. So you know what that means. It probably ain't cheap. But I found that I bought like a dozen of them, and I've only used one. So if you use one, you take care of it, they'll last a long time. Man, it's so much better. Look how shiny that is and dirty. And then this here. So let's do another little line here. It's kind of fun.
Do you want a bucket of water?
Yeah, I probably should. Shoot. Let's do a line this way. So when this launches on Friday, you're going to want to get it will sell out immediately. They can only make so much of it. And so our second order's in, and so we're going to be devoid of this for a little while after the first batch. So just keep that in mind. Again, set your expectations properly here. This is good. This is what you want your leather cleaner to do.
All right, the topic has come up again. People want to know about the R34.
Oh. So what I'm thinking about from a business perspective with the R34 GTR is that I'm looking for a project. I already have the Porsches that I want. I already have had all the BMWs that I want. I've already had the Civic S2000s. I thought about doing a Gen 1 NSX, but I just never really liked that car. I think it's kind of weird looking. And so then I just started thinking, when I got the Evo, right, I started thinking, well, maybe I'll do a WRX. Maybe that would be cool. And then I talked to my buddy Tommy about Japanese cars, and like, dude, R34 has your name written all over. I'm like, nah, that's not for me. I don't really like that car. Never was my car, never my thing. And once I started to head down the rabbit hole, like, I didn't know anything about the GTR world. I mean, I know what an R34, R35, R32, but I didn't know anything about, M-spec, V-spec, NER, Nismo. I don't know anything about any of this stuff and the different rarities of different specs, and so I started to head down that path, and all the parts and all the rarity of it is really freaking cool. And so what I'm starting to think of from a business perspective is use it to really nail down our tool lineups with Sonic and then our bespoke Koken and all that kind of stuff. I think it could be really, really fun. And then just make some interesting videos, and then of course I get the car. So I found the car I want, Bayside Blue. It's 17,000 kilometers, so whatever that is, 12,000 miles. In Japan, what they do is they have a rating system that I guess a car to be sold has to get, and so it's a 4.5 out of 5. Because I want a great base car, even though I'm going to tear the thing apart. I want a great starting point. And good news is this has an actual dropper on it, where the samples I had, I almost dumped the bottle all over the ground. So anyway, I'm going to take our product, swish it around a little bit. Now this is where I went wrong the first couple of videos. When you put this on, we're not going to wipe it off. We're going to let it dry itself. So you want to put an appropriate amount on, getting good coverage on the surface, and then let it flash off on its own, let it dry on its own. And that's really the entire process. And we get a much better looking seat at the end of the day. You can still see I'm getting a little dirt still, so I probably could keep cleaning. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, we chose probably one of the dirtier leather seats in the parking lot to do this on.
It's good.
If you did a new Porsche or something like that,
Pretty
you wouldn't have to
remarkable
do
difference,
much.
man. So anyway, what I would do is find the best example I can get, or something close to it, and then I'm going to do twin turbo, RB28, so the RB28 stroker. I'm going to do V-cam. So we'll build, completely rebuild that 17,000 kilometer engine. We're going to just rebuild that. I already bought what do I have? Is it the Nismo intake? I don't even know what I bought. I'm going to have a long way to go to learn what the heck I'm talking about. But I bought the intake already. I don't even have the car. So I'm probably already committed. So once that dries, looks pretty good. So, yeah, it's about 165 grand to get a car, and then you got to import it, a car at that level, and then I got to import it. And luckily the dollar's pretty strong against the yen right now. And then it's ends up being about 200 grand, to get the car I want here, stock, and then another roughly 150 to build it. So the way that I want to build it, with M-spec front clip, paint the engine bay, Olin's, LMGT4s, wheels, endless brakes, or either that or like an R35, conversion with carbon ceramics. So there's a lot to go into that. So that's the Ledermax lineup. You have a mild cleaner and intensive cleaner. You have the sponges, but watch what happens when I take the sponge. It's all funky and dirty. And it cleans out like brand new. These sponges will last forever. So don't buy a lot of sponges. You buy one of each. You don't need, look at that. It's like brand new. So all that dirt will come right out. See, look how dirty this thing is. As soon as I do a couple of swisheroos in here, a couple of squeezies, you're good to go. See, look. Told you, the sponge will last forever. Speaking of squeezers, check this out. This is touchless. And I'm telling you, touchless. Do I have a gallon over here? I think I do. Let's see. It's traceless, touchless. Make a liar out of me? Figures. Hasn't gone through that bottle yet. That might be a new bottle. But the new squeezer, this is touchless in it, and it's sitting in there pretty. These we nailed first try. Go buy the squeezers. It's freaking sick. Hold all the different types of soap. Look how good my setup over here. I'm testing out the label on it. I think the label might be okay. As long as you squeeze it, discerningly. We're going to see. So, wrap up Ledermax here. Man, it looks so much better. Oh my gosh, Nick. It's so much better. And you just let it dry, because you don't want to wipe it off, because you want it to become your sacrificial layer, but it doesn't leave any finish behind.
And so would you say like once a year maybe you'd go clean it off again?
Once every 6 months, yeah. And once you do the first cleaning, just use 1.0. So you want both cleaners, and you probably can get away with just buy the 200. Unless you have a bunch of cars, you won't need to buy the 1 liter version, so we're going to sell the refills as well. But this stuff ain't cheap, because we got to bring it over from frickin' Germany and pay the transit and the tariffs and all that. When we start bringing over a container at a time, and I don't know if we'd ever need to bring that much of it at once. So unless you guys buy the heck out of it. But I guarantee we're going to sell, we have, I don't know, we buy like 150 of each or something like that. We're going to sell it all out like instantaneously. So you're going to want to make sure you get it.
Yeah, we've had a handful of comments, people mentioning you should clean the other half of color lock. Why not color lock? And I think it's probably
color lock doesn't exist. So
yeah, I think that's the
doesn't do us
point.
any good. I don't have any. It's gone. I don't know what happened. Coach Kemi bought them. Lars is in the U.S. touring around, but there is no color lock, and it works. I would say 10% better than color lock. We're splitting hairs here. It just looks different. It's hard to explain. So you wouldn't be able to see it. And the color lock would do great. There's nothing wrong with color lock. And but this is 10% better. And it exists. So that's good. Color lock doesn't exist. And I thought color lock was 25% better than Geist, and 100% better than anything else. And so this is 10% better than that. So I'm not trying to snake oil sales you. The only reason I'm showing you this now is, the whole point of this was to wrap up Cyber Monday and kind of foreshadow what's coming. Oh, the other thing we should talk about is the 635.
If you want.
So AR 635, so it looks like that. It looks just like that. No, this isn't finalized, but what I requested was 635 standard, 635 hot, and 635 FU signature, Matt Mormon signature edition. The standard will have, it'll be the same as it'll look just like the 630, same plastics, same brass head, same brass inlet outlet, same seals, and I think it's going to be $14.95 or something like that. That's what my request was. And then the hot would probably be $250 more, like $17.99 or something like that. And so that's going to have nickel-plated inlet outlet, nickel-plated head, and it will have the ceramic seals. So it'll be rated up to 185 degrees. Really, the only reason you're buying it because the nickel-plated head looks cool. Same performance, same everything. And then the FU Signature Edition, I have no idea what it's going to cost, but let's say $2,500. and we're going to do like anodized aluminum, on all the, the metal parts, and we're going to do carbon fiber where all the plastics are, and we're going to do a polished stainless, like T316 stainless head inlet outlet. And they're all going to produce the same output, which is around 3¼ gallons a minute on 120 volts, so a normal plug, dedicated 20 amp. We have some work to do on orifice size for foam cannon, but what I proposed to AR, they haven't approved this yet, but what I proposed was that there's 45 of them coming in sometime in the next month. And what they like to do is slow roll out. So they like to get them out into the marketplace to kind of test out. So what I suggested we do, why don't we just get them all out to a select group of OG types. So we'll sell off, and this will be just the brass version, not the hot version. To all the people who love to be beta testers, we'll get them all out to you, sell it to you. And then we'll have a Zoom call once a week for like a couple of months and giving feedback. The requirement is that you got to like show up and you got to use it and get it set up. So we're going to need people to buy it that are going to actually use it. And it's not going to work with the CR, and so you're not going to be able to do it with DI. You're going to have to just do straight water for now until we launch our full, on-wall high-pressure wash station. So it's not going to work with the existing DI stuff. And it may even struggle on our current DI. We need to test it. We may need 2 tanks in order to make it work best. But that pressure washer is going to be insane. It's going to be the standard. And so it's a few $100 more than the Krenzla, but it's doing 3¼ gallons a minute. So it's doing 1.35 gallons a minute. So what is that? It's doing like 60% more output, which is freaking sick.
We have a sign-up page for that. If you want to sign up to be considered to be a beta tester, you can just email Nick at Obsessed Garage, and I'll send you the link to that.
Yeah. Now, this isn't approved. This is all unsanctioned. I shouldn't be talking about this, but hey, the AR guys know that they're going to be in relationship with Matt Mormon. I'm going to diarrhea at the mouth and tell everybody all the inner secrets here, and that's kind of par for the course. I mean, shoot, I've been talking to you about Ledermax with German lettering on it and doing it all wrong. But that, to me, is the best way to, to keep the product in your head, so that way when it shows up, you're ready to go. And that means oftentimes we launch stuff too soon, like press alls and stuff like that. But as long as we're in a relationship here and I'm transparent with you, then it's your choice. And it's like, you want to try heroin? Here it is. And then you can't blame me when you try it. I mean, I told you, you're probably going to get addicted and you might die, so you might not want to do it. And I'm telling you that about products. And but I assume that you aren't idiots. I assume that you're smart enough to make your own decisions. And I just live in a philosophy that if I'm interested in it, that there's probably a few others that would be too. And then I assume you're smart enough to be able to discern. So, where are we at here today, Nick? I wonder what our numbers look like.
We're 300 last time.
We're 407. Wow, that's crazy. We did 410 yesterday, which is wild.
It was very surprising.
Yeah, but that's 316 orders, 406,000. What's that average order value? Like $1,400? It's wild.
We're almost at 3.2 for the entire duration of the sale.
It's pretty sick. Thank you very much, everybody, for supporting us. We're going to do our best to get it out to you as quickly as possible, so bear with us. Tech support standing by, design standing by. So get your, here's what I want you to do. If you're thinking about building a garage and buying this stuff, you're going to have to buy it this week. But I'm giving you a little bit more time, but you've got to get the email in. I want you to send the email, design@obsessedgarage.com, and give them at least a few bullet points of what you want to prove your case here, and we'll extend it. Only for design. Once we get to 11:59 p.m., you got to get your orders in now. It's it. There's no like, my dog ate my homework. I mean, we started this frickin' over a week ago. You had plenty of time. So 7 days for all the regular general public, and the inside the Hex Plus members have had another 5 days on top of that. 4 days. So anyway, huge success this year. I am laser focused on the garage. I've actually pulled the plug on the home stuff with the exception of organization like closets for the foreseeable future. I'll still be happy to share with you my home spreadsheet and all that kind of stuff, but the garage is the anchor. The garage is the anchor of my obsession. It's my sanctuary. It's what I'm destined to support, the universe in, whether it comes down to detailing, tools, audio, video in the garage. Of course, we have Obsessed Home Theater as a sister brand, but I have partners in that doing all the heavy lifting there. I just get to kind of moonlight there. But who knows? Obsessed Home may come someday, but 2026 is the year of the cabinet and the tool. So we're going to really laser in and focus on making sure that all our hand tool packages are really dialed, our foam inlay packages are really dialed, our cabinet systems are really dialed, and I think we're going to do the best year ever with all of the above. We're going to be developing all kinds of different pressure washing stuff, and hopefully new hose reels, new we have we're hoping to have the flagship high flow pressure washer package together with the new AR635. Who knows, working with Krensler to come out with some new versions as well. But yeah, I'm excited. As you can tell from my same monotone sound that I normally come out with. Anyway, that's a wrap. I'm going to go home. We're all going to go home. I think the warehouse team goes till 6:30 today. They'll be back at it tomorrow. They're pulling a couple of 10-hour days, full team 10-hour days, and hopefully to catch up to your orders by the end of this week. So order away. Let's get us to 1 million today. What do you think, Nick? Is that possible?
It's ambitious. It is possible. Is it likely? I'm not sure.
Yeah. I don't know.
So.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks everybody. We'll see you soon.